What's up, Dirk? Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. This is easier than last time, huh?
A lot easier. All
All
right, we're
right.
gonna get started. We want to welcome everybody to the Bible Life Ministry Bible study. Uh, Tuesday night testimony. Tuesday testimony. Uh, as I said, we're gonna start doing Tuesday night testimonies. I want to get everyday people, real individuals on this Testimony Tuesday to give testimonies to encourage people all over. Again, we're not trying to take nobody's church members. We're not trying to uh, convince anyone to send money in or anything. We just want to encourage people and entice people to give their lives to Christ and to have more faith in God. So today we have a great man of God, Curtis Murray Jr., and I'm going to relinquish the floor. We want to welcome everybody to Testimony Tuesdays and thank for lending an ear.
All right. Praise God. Thank you, Pastor. Brothers and sisters, this will be my testimony on my ongoing experience with prostate cancer. And I'm telling this story to not only glorify God, but to help anybody under the sound of my voice. So I would like to start off in October of 2021. Um, I was feeling low energy, just having a problem with all kinds of male issues. So I wanted to go get some testosterone treatment. I went to a men's clinic. I received a blood test and got my first testosterone shot. Within 3 days, the doctor from the clinic himself called me and told me that a test called a PSA, that's P as in Paul, S as in snake, A as in apple. It's to measure uh, the probability of you having prostate cancer. And anything over a 4, when they quantify that number, if it comes back anything over a 4, it tells them there's a possibility you have cancer. Well, this doctor was so concerned that he called me and told me, Mr. Murray, I'm worried about you. Your PSA score came back an 18. You need to get to a urologist immediately, as soon as possible. So the very next day, I made an emergency appointment. Um, 3 or 4 days after that, I found out I did have prostate cancer. It was my prostate was supposed to be size of a ping pong ball, but a little less than that. But mine was the size of a tennis ball, and I was in dire straits because I was already not feeling well. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And when I heard cancer, uh, the feeling that came over me is not something that I experienced. I'm not a very scary person. I'm not frightened of much, but I experienced a fright, a severe fear or scared for my life. And anybody that knows me knows that's not me. But nevertheless, it shook me down to my core. At the time, I was an insurance agent. Um, I had Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. So from October through November 1st, I went through a series of tests because they were trying to find out how severe everything was. So during the month of November, I got a letter from my job and they told me how much they supported me, and to just be sure that I put down all the correct information later on in the month when I could enroll to get my insurance renewed. It was open enrollment. So once I enrolled in my insurance, 2 weeks later, I got a letter saying that they couldn't insure me and that for those reasons, I could no longer be employed. So they gave me my insurance money back and I was without insurance. Now, meanwhile, I was at the state in my exams where I was supposed to be getting bone scans. So, long story short of it, I applied for Medicaid, and by January, I was able to resume getting care. But during that time where I didn't have insurance and I didn't know what to do, I didn't know how advanced the cancer was, and I didn't know whether I was going to die or not. So my daily existence was a battle not to surrender to the cancer, not to surrender to my own fears, but to surrender to God. And during this experience, God had to renew my faith every day because that's how scared I was, right? And normally I would be ashamed to tell anybody that I was scared. But to serve God, I'm telling you, I've never been that frightened in my life. So when I finally got the bone scans, I met with the doctor and she was worried. She said, "Mr. Murray, uh, are you a combat veteran? Or have you been in real bad accidents?" And I said, "Well, I play football. I've been in a couple car accidents." She said, "But sir, you have 17 healed fractures in your body. And that's places where your bones have been cracked." And I just told her I lived a kind of a rough life. Uh, I'm not trying to brag, or it's nothing to brag about, but I've been in many fist fights, bar fights, any kind of foolishness that you could think of. And the point of her asking me these questions was that cancer looks for weaknesses in your body. And she was scared or concerned that having these many healed broken bones, places of trauma, that the cancer would jump to those places, right? So under further examination, they found out I had multiple tumors, and they could not figure out why it didn't spread outside of my prostate. And they wanted to get me into treatment as soon as possible. And that was by February of 2022. Well, when I went to get tested, I found out that all the machines had weight limitations. So just to let you guys know, obesity is one of the contributing factors to prostate cancer. You're hereditary. See, my grandfather had prostate cancer. My dad had prostate cancer. And now I got it, but nobody ever talked to me about it, or I never was concerned about it. In our family, we have diabetes, high blood pressure, and for sure obesity, but nobody ever talked about cancer, right? Even though some of my aunts, my dad's sisters, had breast cancer. That runs in our family. But everybody talks about diabetes. So I didn't really buy into any of it. And so therefore, everything hit me as a surprise. So during this examination, I found out I'm overweight and I need to go on a diet program just to receive treatment. So from February up to the end of May, I'm on a diet. Uh, I'm doing all these procedures. And in the midst of me going through the diet, I had to have a couple of procedures to remove a couple of growths that weren't cancerous, right? So uh, when we get to the end of May and we get to June, By the time I lost the weight, I got down to 10 pounds within where they wanted me to be. And the doctor says, we have a treatment that we think is going to be a better option for you. And the thing of it is, though, Mr. Murray, you're going to have 44 radiation sessions. So at this point in my faith, I'm getting up, I'm praying every day. I'm in constant contact with Pastor Ragsdale. And by the way, I Pastor and Mrs. Tamika Ragsdale, they were a constant source of encouragement and support. And to be honest with you, uh, y'all forgive me. This is a little emotional. Day to day, it helped me because I did not want to show weakness to, for full disclosure, Pastor Ragsdale is my cousin. He's a year younger than me. I look up to him in certain ways, and I know he probably looks up to me certain ways. And one thing he's probably not used to is me showing any type of weakness. But during this process, that person died. Uh, that person had a lot of ego. And see, when you surrender to God and you're facing death, when God renews your spirit every day, you also have to kill your ego every day. And through the process of getting to August 17th, I began 44 radiation sessions. And through that process, each and every day, I experienced the same fear. I said the same prayer, and I conquered the same demon just to get out of bed and go in and have those treatments. So after about the third week of treatment, I would look around the break room and I would just see people from all walks of life waiting to get their cancer treatment. And one day I walked in, I was mad at the world, halfway scared because some of the side effects are frightening. Um, some of my hair, patches of hair were coming off. My and I hope this isn't too much information, but again, this is just to glorify God. I was losing my toenails. Um, all kinds of inside things weren't working, and that's the effect of radiation. And that was my price of living. But it was still hard each and every day. And through this process, I'm a single man. I had to come home and live with my mom. And my mother was there for me each and every day of the treatment. She was my rock. And I spent my whole childhood trying to get away from her. Uh, but at 53 years old, um, I was just a little boy who needed his mom, right? So each day that I didn't want to get out of bed, it just so happens she knocked on the bedroom door and asked me if I was ready. And sometimes I wasn't ready, but I got up and got ready real fast, thinking she didn't know that I didn't, I was scared to go. So one day when I walked in the break room, I looked around and I just couldn't see God nowhere that day. I just woke up. I don't know what you want to call a zombie. I was just numb emotionally. In all honesty, I don't know if I even prayed that morning, to be honest. But this particular day, these farmers, a husband and wife, they walked up to me and they said, "Big man, you look like you need a hug and need somebody to pray with you." And it was exactly what I needed. These were people who, if I'd have passed by them in Walmart or somewhere, I'd have looked the other way. Um, Uh, Other people came and put their arms around me that day, and it gave me a piece of my humanity back. Uh, I don't know what happened to me in life, and I've always been a God-fearing person, but I became real dismissive and I overlooked people and prejudged people according to how I thought they were looking at me. And God brought me all the way back and showed me. Um, on the days I was feeling sorry for myself, the older gentleman, Mr. Rose, he's a white gentleman. Him and his wife are probably in their 70s. He came up and said, "Hey, big man," he said, "I already know I'm going to die, but I'm getting this chemo treatment just to have a few more months with my wife." He said, "So whatever you're going through, you just trust God and you're going to be okay." And for him to know that his life was going to end, but he took the time out. So I believe God led him to me to let me know I still had more to do on this earth. It got me through some rough days. Uh, and as I went through the treatments, I didn't suffer as bad a side effects as some other people did who were going through the exact treatment with me. And I have to tell you that it's so important to to set aside your flesh, meaning you have to conquer yourself before God can even help you. You have to suffer an ego death. EGO. That voice inside you that says, why is this happening to me? Why, God? Why is this happening to me? And what you'll find is that when you kill that ego, you realize that you need to be supportive of everybody who's trying to help you. So say, for instance, it does Pastor Ragsdale no good for me to answer the phone and not even sound like myself, but sound like a version of myself that don't have no faith in God. So on the days where he called me and I'm feeling like that, I just faked it until I acted the way that I thought I should act. And I grew into God planted that seed in my thoughts. And so after 3 or 4 conversations, when I was scared, I was able to be filled up with hope, um, a sense of purpose. And I began to think about the fact that in those cancer break rooms and waiting rooms, there's no pamphlets telling you to pray. There's no body in there asking, "Hey, do you need somebody to pray with you?" Or there's no American Red Cross. There's no churches in that place. And I don't know what happened to make it that way, but I asked God to help me change it. So uh, by the time I finished up in October of 2022, Pastor Ragsdale had put on a clinic, him and Miss Tamika, put on a program called Kill Cancer. And I was hoping to speak at it at the end of October, but I just didn't feel good enough after the radiation. And what has come out of this is we are starting to fellowship with people and get them to get tested for cancer. And along the way, I just pray that we could bring people to Christ and let them know that you don't surrender to a disease and hope to be successful. No matter what uh, my end date is, my expiration date is, God can make it possible that I could do more with the rest of my life than I have with the first 53 years. And for those of us that are hearing this testimony, at the end of the day, I'm still having to get tested every 90 days. I have multiple tumors that are multiple ages. So therefore, they don't know what the growth rate is going to be. And they have me in a special class of cancer patient because they don't know how this thing didn't spread, right? And it's the grace and the mercy of God, right? And through all of this, I would just like to remind us that for you mothers, you sisters, you wives, you daughters, that man in your house that you depend on that won't go to the doctor, right? Or he needs your support now, right? This is we're the fastest rising group of cancer victims. Black men from the ages of 35 on up. We are 70% of all new cases. And I take that back, 40 years old and up. We are 70% of all new cases. And we're about that same number of all death that results from prostate cancer, right? So just full disclosure, uh, after treatment and after research, I found out that, back in my 30, about maybe 39, 40, I had a younger mate at the time, and I started to slow down intimately and just all physical activity. And I started taking over the counter testosterone supplements. And then in all honesty, I slowed down in the bedroom. I got self-conscious about that. So I started buying over the counter male enhancement drugs, and eventually turned to the blue pill, the Viagra and the Cialis. Well, I found out that that wasn't doing anything but feeding the cancer itself. So what I want to see, and I believe God has ordained me to put out there, is that cancer is just not about the victim. The financial impact, the emotional impact on men and their families are great. And there's a sense of shame and a sense of ignorance that goes along with getting tested. Every man, like I was, thinks that, oh, I don't want the doctor's finger up my behind. No, no, sir. A simple blood test will tell you if you need further examination. And it's going to be a 3-step process. You're going to have to get tested. If God forbid you get the results and it's positive, you'll have to meet with the urologist, and that urologist has to find you the right type of oncologist, which is a cancer doctor. So there's a 3-step process with getting us to get tested. It takes follow through. And that's where the family comes in, right? And with the family and with you, the patient, if you ever have to go through this, keep in mind that you have to care about your care staff. And that means you pray to have favor with everyone. And you try to let your light shine, because these people see so much death that you just become a number. And what I noticed was the first couple of weeks of my treatment, I was just a number. But through the grace of God, they started seeing me as a person. And then my doctor started taking time out. When she found out that I wanted to get other people tested, she started showing me different medical journals and how I can get myself started and what knowledge base I needed to go to. And thank God that I put it in his hands. So in closing, I would just like to say that this is an ongoing battle for me. The ultimate victory is won through God, no question, right? Jesus Christ won that victory for us. But my battle have to be fought again. But this time I'll be on better footing. The only landmines are my own fear, my own selfishness, my own lack of faith, right? And my own follow through. So in closing, I would just like to say that in the name of Jesus, we're going to change this. I need your help. I need your prayers. And I look forward to you guys picking up your shield, your swords, and helping me to kill this cancer thing. And if we can't kill the cancer, let's kill the ignorance behind not going to get tested. Let's start educating ourselves on the men's health. And also for you wives and you moms, start looking at the impact that it has on your grandchildren to not only lose their father, but for him to wait until it's really catastrophic before he gets treated, right? Early prevention, early detection and prevention are the two tools, but education is going to get us to that goal. And with that, this is my testimony. I hope it really helps somebody. I'd like to thank Pastor Ragsdale, Ms. Tamika. They are a force to be reckoned with this, and I'm going to join them in the fight. And we invite you to fight alongside of us. That's going to be it for me. Thank you.
All right, all right. Woo! Not much else needs to be said with that. Y'all be looking out because Let's Kill Cancer. We're looking to go to the state of Oklahoma. We're trying to lock in the facility where we will be in Oklahoma in October, educating our young brothers with this cancer thing. I don't live in Oklahoma, but I have classmates that Curtis told me that he ran into them at different stores and they've had the same prostate cancer. And we're working with some other people down there in that area to get this function going so that we can educate people and hopefully everyone in that area, especially the churches, the so-called churches. It's amazing that we can take a person's tithes and offerings, but when it comes to educating our Black men, it seems that no one really cares. So what we're trying to do is bring awareness, and that's where the Kurt Cares steps in, and we're working side by side with Kurt Cares and this ministry up under the Hustle Muscle tag. We're just trying to educate people, give money to the Cancer Awareness Foundation, and do our part with killing cancer. We're at a state now where we kill each other daily, whether it be physically or spiritually or mentally. We do that all day long. But if you keep rolling over, this thing will affect you. And if it does not affect you per se, your person, it'll affect someone that you love, someone in your family, a friend or a family member or someone that you know will battle this thing. So this is Tuesday night testimony, and this is another one down. Hopefully we'll educate some people, and y'all keep listening and tune in on Sundays to the Bible study, and soon tune in on Tuesday for the testimonies. And let's start getting tested. Black men, we need to get tested, including me. I need to be tested. So this is close to my home. So therefore, this will rock you. Just hearing that C word, the cancer word, will rock you. So y'all be encouraged. Stay focused and stay in Christ. And y'all be blessed until the next. We out of here.